this is, I'm not biased here, my personal favorite part of Groundbreakers. And I'm doing this the 3rd year running, so appreciate all of your attention. Let me first start by unpacking the title a little bit. It's called Port to Plate, Intelligence in Motion. Let's unpack that. Port to Plate, in this case, Port of LA to the lunch plate that I know we are between you and your lunch plate, so that's not lost on me. Intelligence in motion. So when you think about the modern supply chain, speed has become table stakes. Everyone expects it. And so what is a differentiator is intelligence. Are you fast, but also intelligent? And when you think of intelligence in the supply chain, you can think of it in 2 halves. Intelligence in motion is capacity in motion, which is where our products in the right place when you need them, and can the supply chain be reconfigured based on data insights? That's intelligence, capacity in motion. And the second half is insights and signals in motion. Do you have the right data to then decide where the product, what to stock, where and when, so you do not run into stockouts, but you also do not run into waste. Those are the 2 halves. And joining me today are 2 pioneers who, with their companies, have addressed these 2 halves of the problem. So first, on my far left is Carl Siebrecht, co-founder and CEO of Flexe. Flexe provides a flexible warehousing solution that allows for capacity to show up when and where demand does. And a little bit of trivia, Flexe was also the very first Prologis Ventures investment. So it's been great to be part of the ride with you, Carl. And then on my immediate left is R.A. Trasdal, founder and CEO of Crisp. Crisp provides a commerce platform that syncs retailers, distributors, and brands with real-time inventory and demand data. And the goal there is to reduce stockouts and waste. And collaborating between those 3 groups, brands, retailers, and distributors, is no easy task. So we'll dig into that with RA. But first, to set some context for all of you, let's play a video for each of these companies. We'll start with Flexe. Can you roll the Flexe video, please?
So we started Flexe based on a need, which was an idea from a friend. He distributed his goods across the US, and he had 1 warehouse. His business is very dynamic, but his warehouse is very static. And so he found himself always either short on space or long on space. And this created the idea to build a flexible solution, flexible warehousing infrastructure for the warehousing part of the supply chain. Flexe provides on-demand, flexible warehousing solutions. So for customers, what we provide is flexibility, agility, and resilience across their supply chains. We found that 80% of shippers out there said this is one of their top challenges. Supply chain is 8% of GDP. 8% of GDP, it's like $1.6 trillion. And one of the single largest bottlenecks to making that as efficient as possible is the warehouse. There's 2 main elements of the solution. One is a large network of 3PL warehouse operators. We have over 800 warehouse partners that combined have over 3,000 buildings that make up about 500 million square feet. The other element is the technology platform. The core of it is a WMS, and the functionality is we can integrate with the shipper one time into their ERP, and then they have access to this very large, scaled and reliable warehouse network. The solutions that we provide are built on terms that are very flexible. It's really all about pay for what you use rather than have to pay for a committed amount of capacity. The key to our competitive advantage is the tech platform that we built and has been operating for over 10 years, and the data that we've been yielding from our marketplace. And that data helps inform us on who are the best warehouse partners to match to the need. It helps inform our shipper customers on what they should expect to pay, and it helps inform our warehouse operators how they should price their solution. So that data doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, and that helps all parties in our ecosystem operate more effectively and more efficiently. So it goes from this reactive purchasing motion to more of a proactive purchasing motion. And this is the ultimate, most important thing, that you stay grounded in the very specific customer's problem. The economics brain just pounces on that and says, man, there's a supply and demand imbalance here. This is very ripe for a new solution. And this is an opportunity to invent something that's never been built before. To build something that you know addresses a very real and vivid problem is kind of the magic.
Excellent video. Carl, I'm struck by the fact that you have over 800 warehouse operators and 3,000 buildings. I can imagine the number of WMS integrations you have to do. And for those in the audience, WMS is a warehouse management system, which is usually, and no, not disparaging anyone, legacy before the word legacy came along. And thinking of the number of integrations you have to do, my only reaction is, all right, so let's roll the crisp video.
So I was fortunate to sell a technology company on my birthday in 2016, and then I took the family on this long trip around the world and saw kind of firsthand challenges around food waste. We saw kids same age as my kids that desperately needed food, and in other countries we saw just food rotting in the field. A third of all the food that's made in the world actually never reaches a consumer. So that's when we said that, wow, can we help? That was the inspiration behind Crisp. Crisp was a technology company for retail, so we help retailers, the distributors, and all the manufacturers exchange data and sell more products, have less waste, and get the right products on the shelf at the right time. We have about 7,000 customers on the platform. That varies from large retailers, the distributors, and the manufacturers. And we have one data platform that allows everybody to understand daily sales data and inventory data, forecasts, is the product on shelf, yes or no, pricing, how much inventory sits in the different parts of the supply chain. Understanding consumer demand is incredibly important, having daily sales data and pricing information, what's happening with competitors, what's happening with advertising and marketing, and with weather and pollen forecasts. And there's all of this type of data that goes into understanding consumer demand. J.M. Smucker used Crisp for the Target business, where they both planned out what product goes on shelf. They used it for sales and understanding inventory, and that drove a 65% increase in their seasonal sales for the pet food. That was an example of how we can really drive a return on investment and increase the sale and profitability for our customer and also for the retailer. We just recently launched our AI agent studio. The agents can both analyze and understand data on massive amount of scale. They can recommend what to do, but they can also take action. There's a lot of agents that are working together with the supervision of humans. We think about Crisp as this triple bottom line company, so it is good for the world, good for the customers that we work with, and also good for us, and good for our investors. And AI is really the enabler. I feel so lucky to be alive and to run a technology company and have these incredible customers that we work with. As an entrepreneur, you hope that you're building ahead of the curve in a way, right? When it happens that you have the technology ready, you have the data ready, you have the customers, and you can be a part of something incredible.
I don't think I've ever seen a water tank being used as brand placement. You saw the Bentonville water tank there. All right, let's get into the rapid fire part of this. I'm going to ask a few questions. Some are for each of you, some are for both. Well, let's start with you, Carl. So in plain terms, how can a brand add warehouse capacity on demand? How does your platform work?
Yeah, so customers can add capacity very, very quickly.
within Flex. To use a couple of examples, first, a large home improvement retailer had the opportunity to buy a very large quantity of inventory at a steep discount. The catch was they had to take possession before the end of the year. So they called us on December 15th to see if we could help. Within 8 days, they started inbounding 52,000 pallets of inventory into the network. So that's speed. A second example, and this one was just the week before last, large beverage distributor had the opportunity to win a new brand from a competitor, but there was one requirement that was key, which is that brand was launching a new product in the very near term. And this distributor needed to onboard several thousand pallets of end cap material for the promotion. Again, 3-day turnaround, and it enabled this distributor to win a new customer. So this agility helped on the revenue side, drive growth by being agile to win a new brand, a new customer, and then also on the cost side, be agile so that you can buy inventory at a lower cost, improve your margins.
Excellent. You know, you mentioned in our prep something that stuck with me. You talked about how for the longest time, freight markets have had a contract component and a spot component, and that was missing with the warehouse space. Can you perhaps provide some color on that statement to the audience on how it resulted in the genesis of your company?
That's right. So the spot market for freight is very mature. It's very scaled. It's been around for decades, and it was born out of deregulation and trucking. We've created the equivalent of that spot market capability in warehousing, and we've built it in many ways off the same model. Flexibility allows resilience, it allows agility in the supply chain, but it is paired with, obviously must be paired with, contract arrangements as well, right? So the spot market in freight is on average 15% of the total freight market. You know, in some years, in some regions, that's 20%, 25%. Sometimes it's 5%. The point is that all companies who are moving stuff have these two tools in their toolkit to apply to the given scenario. And so we've been able to sort of make that happen, again, at scale in the warehousing part of the supply chain as well.
Ari, a quick follow-up to that. Both of your companies have lots of mutual customers, which is very interesting. So once, let's say, Flex allows the reconfiguration of the supply chain and puts a node where the product is, what further decisions can Crisp enable in terms of product placement in the store?
Yeah, so does this... Okay, use this one. The technology guy can't get the mics to work. But the way that we think about this is can a quick show of hands in the audience for the ones that use ChatGPT, any AIs, okay, almost everyone, right? So you can kind of think of Crisp as the version of that for our industry. So it allows to really understand everything that's going on. And in order to do that, there's kind of two components that we've found are important. Number one, I know, Sinesh, you're excited about this topic, it's just you have to have proprietary, clean data. Or that's sales data, it's inventory data, it's pricing information, it's on-time in full information, it's all of that data needs to be on the platform. The other one we found is that you really need to have what we call agent services. And since we are in Hollywood, I've compared this with James Bond being out and blowing things up and in the foreign territories and fighting terrorists. Those are the agents. But M back in London called him a blunt instrument many times. The agent services is all the intelligence behind there, everything that you need. You need semantics, you need to understand, you need price and promotion and calculations. So when you have both of those two things together, both you can get to faster insights, but what we're really excited about is actions. So connecting into all of the different systems for replenishment, for pricing, for assortment, and all of that. So you can also now orchestrate all of the actions to drive more revenue, reduce cost, etc.
Sounds good. Back to you, Carl. So let's imagine I'm the CFO, and thank God I'm not. But what KPIs should I be looking for? How do I know if Flex is working?
Right. So from the earlier examples, the value driver we were talking about was speed. Speed can result in KPI improvements on revenue growth and cost savings as well. I'll use one more example that's a very common one for us, which is seasonality. It's a very common use case, and we had a customer who came. They have a very seasonal business, and they said, look, in a given region, we need 200,000 square feet of capacity to handle our peak for this year. And we helped them understand that if they could pay on a fractionalized basis, so pay for the capacity utilized throughout the year, throughout the inventory build, and the opposite side of that curve, they could save 30%. So the value driver here was purchasing capacity on a fractionalized basis. And the CFO was super happy about that one, greenlit the project. It turned out that the peak build only needed 100,000 square feet in that area because they were able to move some of that build into their other existing facilities in the region. So they actually paid for, on a fractionalized basis, at a peak of 100,000 versus 200,000, they saved 65% on the total cost per pallet KPI, which is a really critical KPI for them, 65%. And so this is an example, I think, that illustrates that a model, when paired with contract warehousing or fixed warehousing, is very powerful. It's powerful for the parts of your business that you know are dynamic, seasonal peak, and it's also powerful for the parts of your business that you don't know are going to be dynamic, whether that's because of a disruption or just an error in your forecast.
Ari, turning to you, you talked in the video about how food waste and eliminating it was one of the motivators behind CRISP. Can you talk about how CRISP deals with that problem now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of looking at all of these demand signals out in the market. One big example talking about kind of seasonality is really around one of our customers sell allergy medicines, and they dealing with and understanding how allergies and how that kind of changes throughout the year is really complicated to understand. So through that, you really need to then understand consumer demand down to the stores and reallocate between the different distribution centers that the retailers have, but also the manufacturers' own distribution centers. So using all of that data, both there's a reduction of what goes bad, but there's also generating more revenue and more profits, so tens and tens of millions of dollars a month just by optimizing the supply chain in real time. So being proactive versus more reactive, being detailed versus general helps with a triple bottom line. It's good for the world, it's good for our customers, and eventually, hopefully, good for us as well.
So Carl mentioned how the physical reconfiguration of the supply chain takes days now, which is super impressive. What about your data-driven insights? What's the turnaround time?
Yeah, some of these leading retailers, one close to Bentonville, they give daily data. Daily data was one that was big. Now they're actually down to hourly data. So now you can start optimizing business based upon hourly data, and that's where truly AI and AI agents kind of come into play, because it's hard for humans to optimize with that kind of frequency of critical data. Another example is with another retailer, and we talked about perishables and how important it is to not waste any of your meat or dairy or produce, etc. And very often you see 15 to 20% waste in those areas. And using some of these more advanced systems that can automatically order based upon understanding what the actual inventory is, we see 20, 25, 30% reduction in that waste, which is phenomenal for the world, but also phenomenal for the bottom line. Nobody makes money on waste.
Very impressive. So let's go to the rapid fire. This is questions for both of you, 10 seconds or less. First one, let's call it a cliche killer. What's a cliche or a phrase that's used in supply chain today that you would like to see retired forever, and what would you replace it with? Carl?
I'll pick supply chain digitization. It's too generic, not really helpful. I would like to replace it with, and I need a better name for this, so open to all help here, supply chain agilitization.
Oh, okay, new word. It's approved.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. TM.
All right.
I would like to kill supply chain because it's truly not a supply chain. It is this very complex web of companies that collaborate around this. You see egg prices go up. Now it influences so many different products. You see shortage on one product. Now another product sells, for instance. So it's very hard to think about this as this a chain. It's really a web of interconnected companies that all get food and other products to consumers.
I was asking to kill a phrase in supply chain, not kill supply chain itself, but I get the point. Okay, next one. You've heard a lot about the consternation out there with AI and humans and what's the impact. What is one decision you refuse to let AI make and have it be with humans?
Anything that's visual. I'm not sure if anybody tried to get these LLMs to do anything visual. So product packaging and things that connect between a human and a packaging, I would not do that with AI. Get all of the data together, but that human connection is very hard to replicate.
For me, hiring. I think AI, and we already do this, can certainly assist in screening candidates and evaluating candidates, and maybe this is kind of an easy one, but team fit, culture fit really matters, and that's critical to have humans in the loop to really assess and get a sense of whether this new potential team member could be a great teammate, can help drive innovation, can help drive customer impact, and all the things you ultimately want from your team.
Okay, last question. What's one surprising change that you have seen based on the data that you did not see coming 2 years ago? Ari?
We were always built for AI, but the rate of change is 10x faster than what I could ever imagine. I think we've all been a part of the PC revolution and the internet revolution and the iPhone and all of that. This is at least 10x bigger than all of those.
For us, it's been the power and the potential of the data that we have in our marketplace. So this is data on the demand side of customers who come and see if we can help for the types of scenarios I described, and then demand on the supply side, which is really bidding data on the spot market, and to understand those supply, demand, and pricing dynamics, and really start to build pricing curves for this spot market in the warehousing business, which is similar to, but very much not the same as I mentioned earlier, the spot market in the freight business.
Okay, so Flex puts capacity where it matters. Chris puts the product where it matters. That's intelligence in motion. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Ari. Thanks, all of you. And back to you, Tracy.
Thank you.